won't dwell on them. Suffice to say that, of course, that in the media and being a politician, it's something that I'm acutely aware of. Our words are very powerful and can be used and misused by people for whatever their agendas are. So I probably don't have much time now that I've acknowledged everybody else. So what I want to do is I've got a really special announcement which I will make in just a moment. But before it, I want to talk about why it is that I think Victoria is the greatest state in what is really the greatest country in the world. And I want to use both myself as an example and I want to embarrass somebody else also. But to do that, I want to talk about the record and the history of the Labor Party. The history of the Labor Party and the Labor movement is one of being inclusive. It's one of embracing diversity. It's one of making sure that people celebrate our differences and are not fearful of them. It's one that has seen in the federal parliament Ed Husic and Anne Ali elected to parliament as the first male and female Muslim parliamentarians. It's one where my great friend Senator Mehmet Tillam was elected as the first Muslim male politician in the Senate. It's where we have seen John Erin and Adam Somyurek elected to the Victorian Parliament. It's where the Labor Party shines the best when it is inclusive and bringing all of the communities together. And why I say that to you is because I, yes, have Hellenic background with Dalidakis as my surname, but I also stand before you as a very proud member of the Jewish community as well. My mother and her family arrived in Australia as refugees in 1946, having fled Nazi Germany, and my mother being born in Shanghai, China, on the way through. The reason why that's such a powerful story for me is that because of the way that the Australian community accepted my mother's family into the community and gave me an opportunity as a first-generation Australian to rise to the heights as both Member of Parliament and Minister as well. So it's that inclusiveness that doesn't just focus on one community, but focuses on all communities. And I think it's what differentiates the Labor Party, to be fair, with some of our larger or smaller parties in Parliament. We can't adhere to the view that multiculturalism is important. We can't foster an inclusive movement within society if we don't actually demonstrate that and represent the community as our elected representatives in Parliament. And so I'm eternally grateful that the Labor Party continues to do that. I'm also eternally grateful that as a party we push minorities up, because we do need role models. And I mentioned that I would come back to Ahmed Fahour in my speech. And we have had a wonderful role model for the whole community, not just the Islamic community, not just for the Lebanese community, but for the whole community. Somebody that has managed to turn around an organisation that was on the brink, and I can say this because having worked for Senator Conroy when he had the portfolio of communications at the time, and Australia Post was part of that, I can tell you that while I was working for Senator Conroy, Ahmed was already the Chief Executive and already working through one of the most difficult transition strategies that any organisation in the public or private sector could wish to go through. And what he's managed to do, he's managed to turn it around without the loss of one job. Not one job. And so for those people that stood up disgracefully in Parliament and attacked him, and I call out Pauline Hanson very specifically. This is a very public speech, it's a very public talk, you can quote me as much as you want. I will talk out Pauline Hanson and I will call her out day in, day out, morning, noon or night, because what she did was disgraceful. She did not focus on Ahmed Fahour because of the job that he did. She focused on him because of the colour of his skin and the religion that he believes in. And not today, not ever, will a Labor government in Victoria or a Member of Parliament like myself ever allow that to go without being challenged. So to Ahmed, I will always support you and I will always leave you with the bill to pick up at the end of dinner. Now, I do have a special announcement. Of course, the government has always strongly supported the Islamic Museum, and we will continue to do so. So it's my great pleasure in front of all of you to announce that as a result of the hard work that Minister Robin Scott, my ministerial colleague that looks after the multicultural affairs portfolio, is to announce that the Victorian Government will provide an additional $450,000 to support educational programs here at the IMA to address Islamophobia over the next 3 years. I'll finish on this note. It's very easy for people to identify when there is a difference, whether it be a Jew walking down the street in Gala wearing his yarmulke, whether it be a woman in a hijab. It makes no difference what religion you follow, where you live, or who you are. What makes a difference is the person that you are and what you contribute to society. And forever and a day, I will always defend everybody in this room, and I will always make sure that I am the first one standing up to protect you, alongside you, always, now and forever. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to make that announcement and be here tonight to celebrate the great work that the IMA and all of you in this community does. Thank you.